Imagine you're standing in front of an opportunity that can change your life. You know exactly what you need to do, yet something still stops you from taking action. That something is fear. But what exactly is fear? How do we identify fear? Evaluation is necessary. Breaking the chain is necessary. As we will see, the cycle of thoughts that paralyzes people exists because it remains strictly in the mental framework. In most cases, if thoughts stay only within the imagination and are not externalized, it will cause this barrier of fear to become even more deeply ingrained in the mind. Fear can also be a habit. The first step is to identify the fears. Is it a real or an emotional danger? Externalize through writing. By writing down everything that worries you and reorganizing what you've identified as paralyzing you. In doing so, the mental block is partially broken. This is the first stage of fear that needs to be shared. However, many people get addicted to just identifying their fears and never move on to the second step. Talk to people who can help you to understand these blocks. This is where communication comes in. The right people can be a huge help in providing balance, offering a healthy perspective, and finding a way out of these fears. Therapists and professionals in the field are always recommended. But to be honest, there is even a fear of expressing these fears to others. Fear is a survival mechanism. It's an emotional response created by the brain to protect you from real threats. When you are in genuine danger, it increases your heart rate, sharpens your focus, to prepares your body to fight or flee. The problem is that brain doesn't always distinguish between physical danger and psychological danger. Fear can act as a paralyzing force, an emotional state, and a brain circuit organized into thoughts whose primary object is to protect your body, avoiding a specific action for as long as possible, and postponing the exposure and consequences of a decision. Fear can stem from the repetition of negative experiences or deep-seated learning, and it's constantly fueled by our habits and the environment we live in. To your brain, speaking in public, starting a business, recording a video, asking for a raise, or beginning a new project can feel just as threatening as facing a wild animal. That's why we experience anxiety, tension, and the urge to quit before we even begin. Fear tries to conserve energy. It prefers that we stay where everything feels familiar, because the unknown requires effort and involves risk. In other words, fear creates thoughts that encourage you to postpone decisions, avoid challenges, and remain in your comfort zone for as long as possible. The more you avoid a situation, the more your brain believes it was actually dangerous. In the next time, the fear becomes even stronger. That's how many people remain stuck for years. Not because they lack ability, but because they keep feeding the cycle of avoidance. The good news is that this cycle can be broken. Every time you face a fear intentionally, your brain receives a new message. I survived. After repeating this enough times, that situation no longer feels like a threat. That's exactly how confidence is built. Confidence doesn't come before action. It goes after taking action, over and over again. Thinking about anyone you admire, an entrepreneur, an athlete, a musician, a great public speaker, none of them was born without fear. The difference is that they learned to act despite it. Fear never completely disappears, but it no longer controls your life. Perhaps the greatest cost of fear isn't the discomfort it causes. The greatest cost is the opportunities it steals. Businesses that were never started, relationships that never happened, dreams that never left the drawing board, all because someone waited to feel confident first. But the courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to act even while you're afraid. The life you want is probably on the other side of the things that scare you today. Fear doesn't grow solely from the experiences we live through. It's also strengthened by repetition. The more we feed the same thoughts without taking action, the more familiar that neural pathway becomes to the brain. Over time, avoiding feels safer than comforting, and that is precisely where procrastination is born. Not out of laziness, but because the brain believes that staying put is less a risk than taking action. Fear, therefore, is shaped as much by memories of the past as it's by the habits and the environments we cultivate in the present. Fear is a part of life, and it never completely disappears. And that is not a problem. The real challenge is not to eliminate fear, but to learn how to interpret it. When we understand what it is trying to tell us, we cease to be its prisoner and start using it as a tool to make more conscious decisions. The question is, will you keep feeding your fear or will you take the first step today?